Live, not from New York. It's the Get Clear Show. And now, here's Laura.
Hello. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Get Clear Show. I'm Laura Wing, and I'm your host. And we have a fantastic show for you today, as usual. So today we are going to be talking to our Artist of the Week, and this guy is amazing, and I can't wait to introduce you to him. His name is Richard Santiago, and he is with oursantiagoart.com. But before we get started, I want to send a big shout out to today's sponsor. I want to introduce you to Hua Photography. If you are in the Hays, Kansas area, or actually anywhere in the United States for that matter, you want to get a hold of Ashley Hua of Hua Photography. She does some amazing work. Thank you to Hua Photography for providing some of the photos for the Get Clear Show. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and introduce you to Mr. Richard Santiago. But before we do that, I want to tell you how I met Richard. Several months ago, I put a calling out for some artists to join me on the Get Clear Show for the Artist of the Week. And Richard answered that call, and I started going through some of his stuff. And in the meantime, he's done some amazing work for me. And I have been so impressed with the work that he does that I decided I absolutely have to have this guy on my show. So Richard, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wow. This is like, we tried to do this interview last month and we had all kinds of technical difficulties, and I was afraid you were going to give up, and I'm like, no, I really want to have Richard on my show. This is like the best artist I know, and you do such amazing work that there was absolutely no way I was going to like not ever have you on my show. So I'm glad you're here today. Thank you so much. Tell us, like I ask all of my artists, how in the world did you ever decide that you wanted to become an artist?
My mother asked me a very important question when I was around 7 years old. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I told her I wanted to be an artist because on the weekends for side money, my mother used to draw portraits, and guests would come over our house and sit down next to a lamp in the living room, and my mother would draw a live portrait in pencil in a sketch pad. And when I was around 7, she asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be an artist. And ever since then, I've been pursuing that.
Wow. So were you able to draw even when you were a little kid?
Yes. I started drawing when I was about 5 years old. And my mother would give me newspapers with the movie posters. And I would try to recreate the poster. And that was kind of like my practice every week, was trying to recreate a movie poster. And that's how I started out.
To me, that's just amazing, because this is how artistic I am. I can't draw. I'm not very crafty. I mean, I'm pretty creative in my own ways, but not with art. And I think it was about 8th or 9th grade. And I came home with my artwork from junior high. And my mom had a guest at the house at the time, and I brought her all my stuff, and I set it on the table, and her company left, and she looked at me, she said, don't ever pull your artwork out in front of anybody ever again.
Oh,
it was
wow.
So bad. I mean, it really is bad. And I don't think she was trying to insult me. I think she was trying to protect me from criticism, honestly, because it was really bad. I think I'm the only person I know that ever got a D in art. It wasn't because I didn't turn my assignments in. So art's not my thing. I'm not. So, but I love art. I love going to museums. I love going to art shows and art galleries, and I could spend all day just looking at different types of art. And I ask myself all the time, how did they do that? And I see your stuff, and it's just, you have such a creative style and such a unique style. And I know that you have, I mean, you're absolutely one of the most professional artists I have ever had on the show. And I'll tell you why. I meet artists all the time that they're constantly struggling to make ends meet, and a lot of them have other jobs, and then they do their artwork on the side. But that's not you. I mean, art is what you do for a living. You do graphic designs for people, you make logos for people, you make covers for magazines and all of that. And I want to give you an opportunity to share what it is that you do for a living and some of the work. I know you've been published in several publications, so go ahead and share that with us today.
Sure. I have right here Airbrush Action Magazine. Airbrush action has been around 30, 35 years. I started collecting Airbrush Action magazine in 1989, and now in March 2016, I got a full page with 5 of my pieces in it. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of this magazine, published in April of 2000. I did the cover, and it sold out. 300,000 copies sold out. Every back issue in storage sold out. I even went to visit my sister in Tennessee, and I bought a copy myself in Tower Records when they were around. Here's another cover of a magazine for Elemental Magazine. Really proud of that. Another cover. I've been published altogether 65 times. I keep track of how many times I'm published. This is the Source magazine in April 2000. Really proud of that. I got a full page ad.
Wow.
In that magazine. That was a major ad campaign for Truth, the anti-cigarette smoking campaign, and it was published in 5 major magazines, 4 issues apiece, and I'm really proud of that. And I've been featured many other times in newspapers and magazines. Another one they're calling a historical document is Black Comics by John Jennings and Damian Duffy. It was in stores nationwide, completely sold out, and then it went into second print. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten the update from John Jennings on what happened in the second print, but I do know that first print sold out, first edition. And I have a feature in there with five pages. I think seven or 8 of my paintings are in there, and I'm really proud of that because they're saying that it's a historical document because it's the first time minority comic book artists are featured all in one book. So
that's incredible.
I'm really proud of that too. So over the course of 21 years now since I've been freelancing, I've been featured 65 times in magazines, books, and newspapers. That's not including internet. I don't include internet as publishing, even though some people do. But that doesn't include internet or websites or anything like that. I'm strictly talking about print, books, and magazines and newspapers.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you're not just a wannabe artist. You're not just somebody who is just constantly hustling to try to, make something of yourself. You've already made something of yourself. You are truly a professional. And you mentioned website. I want to take our audience over to your website, if that's okay. Give me just a second here, Richard, because I think they'll be able to get a really good view of, hang on just a second here. Let me get over there. So I am at www.rsantiagoart.com. In fact, we're going to have Richard's website in the description at the bottom of this video for you. But I skipped on over to your portfolio page, Richard, earlier, and I was browsing through some of your stuff.
Yes.
And so it's like, you definitely have a style. And I guess one of the questions that I have is, do you do this freehand? Is this digital? How do you do this?
Okay, it really depends on which piece we're talking about. The ones we're looking at right now are all traditional, which means that I use pencil, color pencil, watercolors, acrylics, liquid acrylics, airbrush, and that's how I put together the ones we're looking at right now. I tend to use, nowadays, more recently, I tend to use like everything in my arsenal, everything from pencil all the way up to digital. What we're looking at right now is traditional. It's ink, pen and ink, color pencil.
So how long does it take you to make something like this? Because I'm looking at all these little tiny pieces of detail in here.
Yeah.
I would think it takes a long time.
Yeah, it does. It does, depending on the amount of detail and what technique I'm using. But that piece we're looking at right now is called The Headless Poet. It's that took me, I think, 5 days to do it, and really the 5 days was mainly consumed by taking up that pattern of that background, that static background. That took me like 5 days to do that because each little black shape was drawn one by one until I filled up the page, and that took me about 5 days to do that.
Oh my goodness! Wow. So was this one published? This was published somewhere?
No, actually
No,
that's
okay.
a draft for an art show at a major gallery here in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's the draft, and I actually painted the piece 16 feet by 8 feet.
Look at all the detail in this one.
Yeah. Same thing with the
unreal.
background on that. That one took me about a week to do.
Was that part of an art gallery as well?
It was in 1996. I was featured in the King Plow Art Center here in Atlanta, and that's the draft for the painting that I did.
So this is a little bit different. This is a little bit different in style. I mean, it's still obviously the same style, but without all of this major detail, it's a little, I mean, a different focal point, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that was for an art show, and I sold that original painting to the owner of the lounge. We had an art show at a lounge here in Atlanta, and the owner bought that original from me. That's a CD cover for a rapper here in Atlanta.
And that's the other thing I know you do, is you also do album covers too.
Yes.
For people.
Yes, I have a few under my belt.
I mean, this is just unbelievable how much you have produced in your career over the last 21 years. So I'm going to go ahead and get back over here and talk to our audience here for just a second. So I have some questions for you. How do you go about getting your work? Because I know I talk to a lot of artists and they really struggle with trying to market themselves. So how do you go about marketing yourself? Do you carry a portfolio around with you? I know that's something some artists do.
I do. I carry a portfolio everywhere I go. I don't really care if it's a social event, or I'm going out to an art exhibit, or I'm going to a festival, or anywhere I go, I have to carry my work, because that's how I find work. I use everything in the book that I know how to use. I still use the post office to mail out copies of my portfolio. I have these visual resumes that I created.
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool because it's got a profile of me, a photo of me, so that they can see what I look like, a little bit about my background. I made this myself. It's got my resume, and then a gallery of like some of the work that I've done in the past. It's really cool. They're really affordable. So I still use the post office to mail those to companies like Disney, Nike, Adidas. I mean, I mail those out. And then also now with the digital era now current, I use social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram. I mean, I'm constantly advertising as much as I can. And in addition to when I'm out in the public, I have my portfolio. When I meet someone, I try to show it around as much as possible so that I can pull in that next client, because there's bills to be paid.
Yeah. But that's the thing. And I think that's the point that I'm trying to make. Because you are a professional artist, your bills are getting paid. And I know that there are a lot of people who would love to be able to build their business to the point that you have, where that's what they're doing for a living, not just as a hobby, not just on the side. Several weeks ago, I did an interview with a guy by the name of Dan Flores. In fact, I think that may have been how you got the call to this show, was through Dan Flores. And we talked about no more starving artists, that in this day and age, people can actually make a business out of art. They don't have to call themselves a starving artist and, hope to just maybe magically sell that one piece of art. But if they know how to actually put a business together for themselves and market themselves, they can actually go places. And you've really dialed in on that. You figured out a way to turn this into a career and do what you love. I know, too, that you went to school to become an artist. And so tell me about that. What was that like?
Okay, in 2004, I attended Catherine Gibbs College in New York City. I went to school at Catherine Gibbs for graphic design because I was already published many times before I went to school for graphic design.
Oh my.
I'd been featured in galleries and published many times. And then in 2004, I decided to go to school because I had to learn this new market. I had to learn this new technique of digital, like the digital era. And I went to school. and I did the best that I could to learn how to use the programs that they're using today to create art and graphic design. So that's what I did.
Yeah, it's a totally different world now with, everything being on the internet, and where before you were just doing everything, like you said, through the mail and going to galleries and stuff. You almost have to. If you're not online, you don't really even have a business in this day and age.
Right. It's true. Everything is digital. Everything is digital. I mean, the post office is still useful, and I still use the post office, but you have to use the digital arena. You have to use the digital platform these days if you're going to be modern, if you're going to be up to date with what's going on, because like everybody's on social media these days.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. And so I talk a lot with people about marketing their businesses, and I don't think that artists are any different. You have to be out there. You have to be creating things that people are attracted to, create those advertisements, create those lead magnets, draw people to you. And here's the thing. I think too many times people are like, well, I'm going to put my work out there and then hopefully people will flock to it. And unfortunately, that's not how marketing works. You have to go to them. You have to bring your work to them. So if you think about it in terms of, well, I have to send my portfolio through the mail, right? The regular physical mail. It's the same way on social media. I have to bring my content to my potential customer rather than just sitting around waiting for them to come to me. And I know that you do some of that. I mean, like you said, you're all over the place. What advice would you give to up and coming artists that they're like, I just don't even know where to start? What would you tell them?
First, they have to build a portfolio. They have to hone their craft and their skills. You have to be commercial worthy. You have to be marketable. Like, your work really has to be up to par out and ask somebody for money for your work. So an up-and-coming artist should definitely work on building a portfolio. Interchange it, get a binder or a regular portfolio and interchange your work, keep updating it. You want to show your best work and just keep building it. And then when you've built a portfolio, that's when you go out and you show it to people. And when you're at that stage, you can make copies of your portfolio, which is very cheap, very affordable, and you can start mailing them out. And now with the digital era, start posting your work online and start talking to people as much as you can about it. And that's how you'll draw in more work and start getting paid customers.
So we're going to make a really big announcement at the end of today's show that you're a big part of, and I'm really excited to get to announce this. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit more about some things. So every artist, I think, has pieces that they've worked on that they fall in love with, that it means something to them, or it's their favorite piece that they've ever done. And I know you have a favorite piece. You want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, my favorite piece is the cover of Elemental Magazine, issue 18. It's my favorite piece for multiple reasons. Because I like the artwork altogether, but also this is it right here. But I also like it because it sold out 300,000 copies. Even every book that was in storage was sold out as back issues. And it's my favorite piece because it's really colorful. It's exciting. And also, I mean, I just can't believe the fact that it sold out 300,000 copies. I was amazed when the owners of the magazine told me that.
That is incredible. So did they not print any more after that?
No, that was it. After they printed the 300,000 copies and they were distributed into stores nationwide as well as some international locations. That was it. It was a print, sold, moving on to the next one.
Wow. So that would almost be like a collector's if somebody out there has that or wants it and they can't get their hands on it anymore. Yeah. You better hang on to that.
Oh, yeah. No, I have several copies myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have several. Yeah.
We'll have to hit you up then because it's going to be worth quite a bit of money here in the future, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So are you doing what you've always wanted to do? I mean, like, are you living the dream as far as your work goes, or do you have some other goals that you've set? Or I think I had asked you once, you know, what would be your dream commission? What would be your dream job? What would you like to do?
I really would like to do concept illustrations for major motion pictures. I love these comic book movies. I love these Marvel movies, these DC movies. And I've been a big comic book fan since I was very young. I had at one point I built up a collection with a few valuable collectibles in there. But I'd love to do storyboards and concept illustrations for major motion pictures. That's something on my list that I haven't achieved yet, that I haven't gotten to.
Well, you're so busy. It's no wonder you haven't had a chance to even pursue that yet. But
Yeah.
you know, I know that you're going to be able to do it. I know you will, because you are just that talented, and you know what you definitely know what you're doing. So one of the things that's been really cool for me is, and I want to share this with our audience. When you saw one of my Get Clearer Show episodes, you got a hold of me and you said, "Hey, you needed some branding. You need a look." And I said, "Yeah, Richard, I know, but honestly, I'm not visual enough to, I don't even know what I want." And you said, "Well, I think I can take care of that for you." And you came up with some ideas, and you presented me with these ideas, and it was like you read my mind. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I want that. I really want that." And I didn't even give you a clue as to what I wanted. I was like, I don't know what I want. And you just have this way, I think, of sort of tapping into and just reading what your customer wants. And you gave me everything that I ever wanted without even asking it. And I know that you do that also for other people, for other customers. They're like, "Hey, I need a brand for my business," or "I need a logo," and you're capable of doing that. But I was excited because here's the deal. I've met hundreds of graphic designers. I mean, seriously, hundreds. And I've even had some other graphic designers present me with some ideas. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, well, that's all right." But here you came, you like swept in, you like rescued me. And I want to let our audience know that your costs are right on your website, right? I think your costs are on your website.
Yes, on the homepage, yeah.
And absolutely, I mean, I'm not going to lie to our public and say, "Well, Richard's the cheapest person in the industry," because you're not. You're definitely worth your value, though, and at a price that is affordable and that makes sense, and you deliver on that value. You know, you gave me what I wanted at a price that I could absolutely afford, that was reasonable. And so I'm going to go back over to your website real quick.
Okay.
Hang on just a second here.
Sure, no problem.
I want to go over the website and share with the audience what some of their options would be if they are looking for somebody to do some great work for them. So to do that, Richard, do I go to your homepage?
Yes, it's on the homepage.
It's on the homepage. Okay, so we're going to go over there.
Scroll down a little bit, and I have my my price guide on there.
And that's another thing. You know, too many of these graphic artists were getting a hold of me and they're like, "Hey, I want to do something for you." And I said, "Well, how much is it going to cost?" And they didn't have prices. And they're like, "Well, it just all depends." But I mean, you spell yours right out. There's no guesswork whatsoever. Right there. This is how much it is per inch, and it is beyond reasonable. It's just like, I was like, "You got to be kidding." I mean, this guy is very reasonable. Now, you're going to spend more money the larger it is, but that's more work for you, so it certainly makes sense. Mm-hmm. And what I also like is you can go right onto the website and just buy it right there. Yeah. With all of your, you've got some samples, you've got some ideas and examples, and I liked that you gave me some options. You said, "Well, you have some choices. Here are your choices. Which one works for you?" And I got to pick. You didn't try to shove any one design down my throat or say, "This is the one you need." And I really appreciated that. So if I go over to your comics, what are we going to see there?
Right now, what I have on my comics page are character profiles. I have a lifelong project that'll be finished years from now. I've been working on it for many years, and it's a comic book idea called Santiago's Broken Glass. And these are the characters that appear in the comic and who the story is about. It's about an interdimensional time traveler who comes to Earth, and he comes to Earth to escape the problems of his own world, only to find out that the problems here are overwhelming as well. And I'm still working out the story, and it's a lifelong project because each page is hand painted and using mixed and multimedia. So I'm using everything from pencils to digital. And the first 10 pages were published in Elemental magazine twice, in 1999 and again in 2000. But these are the character profiles of the characters that appear in the story. And so far I have 24 pages. They're hand painted as well as a little bit of digital. And it's just a lifelong project that I plan on finishing probably when I'm in my 60s. I'm 40 years old now, and I'll probably be finished with this book when I'm in my 60s, because I'm taking a lot of time to make sure that it's a quality product.
Wow. So are these the only characters, or are you still developing more characters?
No, there's more. There's a lot more. Okay. This is just who's been in the book so far in the first 24 pages.
So I like this one. This is my favorite. Yeah. I don't know why. That's the thing about art, is that art is subjective. So, you know, I might look at something and go, oh, I really love that piece, and somebody else might look at it and go, it's okay. Yeah, but you do enough variety that I think there's something for everybody. We can all scroll through that right there and go, I like that character. I like the way that one looks. So it'd be kind of fun to get to read the story. That's pretty exciting. When did you first start doing that?
1999 is when I started doing the illustration work, and it was published in Elemental magazine, and then again in 2000 published twice, the first 10 pages. But I actually started writing the story in 1992 when I was in 8th grade. And in 1999, when I got the opportunity to be published in Elemental magazine, the owner of the magazine said, hey, I love your work. I love your portfolio. Do whatever you want. You have total creative control. So I went home that day and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I have total creative control. What do I do? What do I do? So I ended up pulling out the 6 pages of storyline that I wrote in 1992 in 8th grade. And I was like, hey, you know what? This will be really cool. I always wanted to finish it. I always wanted to do this book. It was a dream of mine. So I read the story, I really enjoyed the story that I wrote in 1992, and I decided to illustrate the first 10 pages. But it had to have a gimmick. It had to have a hook. So the hook was for me to use every medium that I knew and that I was talented with to make the pages and the artwork as interesting as possible. So that's what I did, and it turned out to be published twice, 99 and 2000. The first 10 pages. I was proud of that. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. So, I hope I'm around when you're 60 so I can read the rest of it. I want to see the finished product. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You have so many talents. You have so many talents. What are you working on these days? What are you working on right now?
Right now, I've been working on a series of digital illustrations for a CD cover. Right now, there's a rapper who's putting together a mixtape, and what I've been working on is 2 CD covers so far, and he's hired me for a series of advertisements as well as covers, and we're going through the process of brainstorming, then creating, and then the decision making on which one's going to make the cover, as well as this week, as well as the week after, we're going to work on some ads as well for social media. So that's what's been occupying my time for the past week, is these CD covers right now.
Yeah, and I know that you've been working on some stuff for some other customers, because I'm one of them. I've thrown some more work your way. I said, Richard, I really need you to do this for me and that for me, and you've been so gracious in doing that, and I certainly appreciate it. You've done a lot of work for the Get Clear show and some of the other things that I have going on, and you're very, very, very talented. Well, I would like to, if it's okay with you, I want to make our big announcement. Can I go ahead and do that?
Sure, I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So here's the deal. Y'all know that once a week we do the Artist of the Week show, and I love getting to interview artists. I think that there are so many wonderful, talented, and amazing people in this world, and their work needs to be shown and it needs to be showcased, and I love giving people an opportunity to do that. But I'm not an artist, and I know what I like, and I know what I don't like, but that's me personally. And so I thought to myself, I really would like to have a professional artist help me once a month, kind of do some art critiques where we pull up some pieces of artwork that we find on the internet or in different places, and we just talk about that. And I needed somebody to help me with that. And so I asked Richard, hey, Richard, would you co-host a show with me? And guess what? You're going to be co-hosting a show once a month with me. We're going to do this artist critique stuff. And I'm like over the moon excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. That's going to be great.
Yeah. We've been brainstorming some different ideas. And I know that your audience is like dying to hear what you have to say, because they're like, I want to be like Richard. I want to be like Richard. So I know that they are really excited to hear what you have to say about art and about artists and about, monetizing art, because too many times what you and I see is that people have some great pieces of work and it's going undiscovered or unnoticed. Right. And so hopefully we can plaster their stuff all over this show anyway and talk about it and get them noticed. Yeah. So I'm really excited. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be great that we get to showcase artists who otherwise would not be showcased and would not get the exposure. I mean, because there's so many artists out there that have created works of art, and they have nowhere to put it. I mean, they might put it on their Facebook and it's gone once the feed buries it. But it's going to be great to be hunting down these artists who can be on the Get Clear show and speak about the things that we like about their work and their accomplishments, and hopefully get some more interviews out of this, more artist interviews, because I'm a big fan of artist interviews, and I love tuning into the Get Clear show and seeing what artists this week appears on the show. So I think that's going to be great, hunting down the artists and critiquing their work. I plan on just saying positive things about their work, the things that I like, and hopefully if they're interested, they'll appear as a guest on the show, which I look forward to.
Yeah, and I had some other options for co-hosts for a show like this, but I thought, no, I really want somebody that knows what they're doing and is professional, because like I said, I don't know. I know what I like about art, but I don't know art like you do. And you are definitely, you're a real professional artist. You're not just a wannabe. You're not just somebody who plays around with this stuff. You know what you're talking about. And so I wanted somebody that would co-host this once a month episode with me that really knew what they were talking about, because I think that you have so much to offer these new artists that are trying to make something of themselves, that you can give them some advice and some suggestions, along the way. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think this is going to be spectacular. I'm just like over the moon excited. Yeah, but yeah. And I love art, I don't know too many people who are like, oh, art's gross. We all like art. And we talked about maybe some other types of art, like maybe having some musicians on. I did a show last week with Herman Martinez, who is a musician. He's kind of a multifaceted artist, and he does some really cool stuff. And so you and I get a front row seat to all of this phenomenal work that is out there, and we get to be a part of that and talk to people about their work. And I'm just so excited about it.
Yeah, me too. So, I think it's going to be great.
Go ahead.
No, I tuned into the Herman Martinez interview, and I really enjoyed it. I got a chance to go to his website where his music is, and I think his music was great. I really enjoyed it. I like original music, like I like original artwork, and I thought that his music was very original, and I really liked it a lot, as well as his artwork. He's got one piece that I'd like to feature. Hopefully in one of the art reviews that we're going to do, the art critiques. Meditation is what it's called.
Yeah, wasn't that a great piece?
Yeah, that piece was fantastic. I love that piece.
Just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to finding more artists that we can review on the show. That's going to be great. Yeah.
Well, before I let you go today, I want you to give everybody an opportunity to find you, so that I know that really, because here's the thing, I'm going to talk about this for just a minute. I work with so many people who are busy trying to market their businesses that, I don't necessarily work with artists themselves, but I know a lot of people out there in the business world that are looking for somebody to help them, whether that's a mural or a painting that they need for their place of business, a really good piece that they want to hang up, or they need somebody to create a look for them, or brand, a logo, something like that. So how can those people, those business people, get a hold of you? How can anybody get a hold of you and, you know, commission your work?
You can find me on www.rsantiagoart.com. It's also at the bottom of the screen under my name. Mm-hmm. And it's got all my contact information, phone numbers, emails, social media. Any way you want to get in contact me is fine through the website. So really, the best way then would just for them to go to your website and they can check everything out. Would it be okay? Unless they meet me in person, yeah. Yeah, or through the mail or something like that. But yeah, definitely. They're gonna have to go to your website to find out where you are anyway. Is it okay if I share your website one more time for our audience? Sure, no problem. And have you show people how you can how they can get a hold of you. Hold on just a second. We'll skip on over to your contact page. These characters are so cool. I just love them. Thank you. So do you do blogging? A little bit. Anytime I think anything is newsworthy about my career, I put it on a blog. That's cool. I know on my website, I was so excited when you presented me with some of the designs for the Get Clear show that I had to run and blog about it. So I blogged all about you on my website, so people can go check that out. So, this is contact information for you. So you're in Atlanta, and these are your hours that they can get a hold of you, 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. And I imagine that you're also busy during that time creating. I mean, you're busy actually working, but they can still get a hold of you. So they can get a hold of you through email or through telephone then, huh? Yes. And you're on all of these different social media sites. And so somebody can just fill in this little thing here and send you a message that way? Yes. You can contact me through any of those links there. Cool. That is just really awesome. Well, Richard, I am like over the moon excited. I can't ever say good enough things about you because, you know, I've gotten to know you pretty well in the last month, and you're like a stand-up guy. You run an incredible business. You're not. I mean, this is not a game to you. This is some serious stuff. You know what you're talking about. You definitely know art. Not a game. Yeah. This is life for you. So, what would you like to leave our audience with today before we get going? Just look out for the artist reviews and artist critiques that we're going to be doing in the future, coming up probably next month. It's going to be really interesting to watch and hear the discussions that we have about the artists, the feature artists we're going to be doing. Yeah. And I think it's going to be very interesting. And just tune into the Get Clear show. It's an awesome show. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're into fashion, photography, this is the place you want to be to get your name out there and get a little exposure. So I look forward to being part of this show with the Artist Review. And thank you for having me on the show. Oh, Richard, thank you so much. Well, you've been watching the Get Clear show, and we've been talking to our featured artist of the week. We've been talking to Richard Santiago II of rsantiagoart.com. And oh my gosh, like I am so excited about all of the things that Richard and I have planned for you. We're going to be doing the artist reviews once a month, and we have of course, continuing to do the Artist of the Week shows every Tuesday for you. But I'm just so thrilled that Richard was here today. I want to give another shout out to Hua Photography. Thank you for sponsoring today's episode of the Get Clear show. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.